every little thing gonna be alright.
What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. They call me Ryan680.
And this is Lex back at it again with a review.
We back, ladies and gentlemen. We back. What? We Richmond. What's up,
in the
guys?
house.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? All you Ted Lasso fans, and thank you so much for making us a part of your day. And if you have not already, like, share, subscribe, hit that little thumbs up for our review, guys, and be sure to hit that little subscribe button to get notified for our movie reviews. In this case, Ted Lasso reviews. It's coming out, guys. I can't wait. This season has really been very different, and we knew this from the get-go because this season is the final season. This is it, guys. This is it. We're gonna mention it every single time because I just can't believe it's the final season. I can't. Can you believe this, Lex? It's the final season.
Yeah, it's still crazy to me, but
It doesn't feel that way.
It doesn't feel that way yet. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I think they're gonna close the arcs of a lot of these characters, but they've always talked about like a spin-off. We don't know any details around that, but I feel like they'll close things, but life moves on, like for a lot of these characters. But we're midway through, right? Like there's still 6 episodes left.
This is it. This is the mid finale, whatever you want to call it. This is where they take the breaks, and we're gonna have to wait another month or two. No, I'm just kidding. We're not in that era no more. We're not in that era no more. We that old. No, I'm just kidding. We're not even that old. But yeah. All right, guys. But this episode 6 is titled Sunflowers. This is, I believe, one of the longest episodes to date. It'd be an hour and 3 minutes here. And we just got done doing our last review, guys. And me and Lex, we were just talking about this. How, these episodes need to be longer. Well, come to find out, I mentioned this a lot. They need to be longer than 40 something minutes. And finally we got it. We're not going to mention any spoilers right now, guys. So we'll mention spoilers at the very end. We'll put the tagline on top of us. Oh, on this side. On top. Oh, you can't see. On that side. Sorry, my
be on top of me. Yeah.
No there you go. We'll put the spoilers thing up there. So stay tuned, guys. If you have not seen Ted Lasso episode 6, Sunflowers, don't worry. You can still watch this episode up until we put the spoilers, and I'll put it as a chapter as well. But let's get right to it, Lex. What did you think of your initial reaction after watching one of the longest episodes of Ted Lasso, Amsterdam? We saw tweets of it. I saw some photo stills. I saw some stuff on this. So I kind of knew where it was going, where this episode was going, Amsterdam and all that. But what was your initial reaction after watching this, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, my initial reaction is that I love this episode so much. It gave us a lot of fun moments, and there's I think recently since I went on a trip to Europe, and this is nice. Relevant for one reason. It's like, I think like going, in my case, I went with coworkers. Close coworkers, some of them I hadn't met in person and things like that, but just exploring a new place, like there's nothing like that, right? And here, like football stars, they're used to traveling to a lot of these places and things like that, but as an audience, we've never seen them go to Amsterdam, for example. I think in the past seasons they have gone to different places, but this was really about becoming immersed in the new city. And it was just a lot of fun, a lot of good moments. I see why it was this long. They gave us insight into different people, and everyone kind of split off and did certain things. Absolutely love this episode. It was great and a blast. And then I want to go. I knew I wanted to go to Amsterdam, but I now want to go even more.
This episode really it did a lot of setting up at the beginning, and I don't know if this was. I know we're totally a little bit different on here. I love this episode, but at the same time, it was kind of not necessarily slow in the beginning. It just was setting up. I feel like that was the point of the first half of this, the beginning of the first 20 minutes of this episode, which I kind of felt like it was setting up too much, and a little bit with, we're not getting into details or anything like that, but for me, I kind of felt like, where are you going with this? Because you're setting up all these different characters in the situations here, and is it going to exceed at the very end? Is this episode going to leave us like with like, what happened to this person? What happened to that, and whatnot? But it pleasantly surprised me. I mean, in a way to where it gave me the most heartwarming and put awareness, of course, to mental health issues here as well. I mean, just the whole concept of society here. And Amsterdam, it's a definitely, I enjoyed a lot of these shots that we got of Amsterdam. They were really cool.
Yeah.
It makes you to where like, oh man, these football players are travel, they're just as excited if we were, even though they're on
Yeah.
that part of the world, even though they're on that part of the globe and everything. And so it definitely was interesting to see these characters arcs and to see different setups here, because we got something very different, very risk taking in a way to where it really did very very well at the climax of this episode here, and more so even to where it continues the story of every single character. We got to see, of course it's about Ted Lasso, right, but we got to see more character arcs here, more so in here. And we even, I mean, come on, this shot right here is just we something very different that we've never gotten before of these two characters here, and I really did enjoy that a lot. These still shots are that were on Twitter, guys. These still shots of this episode, sunflowers here, and yeah, I enjoyed a lot of this. I enjoyed the Warwick Kent in here. I enjoyed a lot of these different character arcs that I didn't expect we were gonna get at this episode or at this point of the season, in a way to where it really exceeded my expectations on that point. But as an overall episode, I enjoyed it. I really did. It's just the beginning, I would say, I know, call me crazy, Lex. The beginning was a little bit slow for me in the first 10 to 12, 13 minutes. But then after that, it kind of got my interest going. It was just like, where is this going? Because I felt like when you set up so many characters, in one episode, right? Because you're like, I want to know now. I want to know now. And it's just the way we are, as human beings. And same thing with like other TV shows. I don't want to set up and leave us hanging on certain arcs, but that's the point of a TV show, right? I mean, yeah. So
yeah. And like the setup here for me, it felt natural because what I've gotten used to, especially with this season, I think they've done it this season more than others. So I think that's where some people feel some of that difference with this season. I don't think it's the only thing, but we skipped through a lot here in this season. So this season is going through the natural progression of a full football season, which I've recently been playing FIFA, and
Nice.
I've been finding out how long these seasons are compared to other sports that we're used to in America. Like it involves like friendly matches, it involves matches in your league, perhaps any international cups and things like that, and it just spans over a long period of time. So here, if 12 episodes was a week, right, we'd only be getting 3 months worth of coverage, which is not the season. And I know previous seasons have also skipped ahead a little bit, but here I think there's already been like 4 times that I can count that we've either skipped through a couple of weeks, we've skipped through multiple days. And with an episode like what we got last week, I think a lot of us expected for it to pick up right where it left off,
Me
especially
too.
with some of the shocks that we experienced, right? And here they were already in Amsterdam, right? Like, so they didn't even sorry, it's kind of spoiler, but episode takes place in Amsterdam. That's all I'll say. But let's just say that it's about their time there rather than getting there. And so I think that this episode took us by surprise because they have to do that setup because they're at a point where it's different than we were left off. And I think it takes a little adjusting to, but like you said, there's the payoff here. And they took us on a journey with so many different characters. And the amount of time that we got in this episode for each of them to get that proper dedication was awesome. And I had heard in some interviews that like a lot of the cast had said that this is probably one of their favorite seasons. Granted, they're trying to promote it, right? But I believe in what they were saying because a lot of them said like this is one of my favorite seasons because we're gonna get to see a lot more out of these players that perhaps we haven't gotten to see a lot of. And we've seen that a little bit with Colin. We've seen that a lot more with like Jamie and Roy and the dynamic and things like that. So it was just
which we'll get into more in the spoilers part. But yes,
but I like that this once again became this pillar of all these stories joined together.
And we saw a lot of different different dynamics, like you already said, but like we go to where I didn't expect that to come out of this episode. I didn't expect to put them two together,
Yeah.
with with Higgins and all. It was very, very unusual, and I was just like, oh snap, okay, this is cool. Maybe we'll see where it goes. And from that was my issue, was that it was so much of these character arcs. And be grant, I'll be honest here. It's one of those things to where, do you, as of right now, Lex, let me ask you this question real quick. Do you believe so far? I know we're only halfway through the season. Do you believe this is the best season out of the last two? Because I'll be
it's
frank,
an unfair question because
I know, right?
the other seasons already got their full stories told, right?
Yeah.
I can. I mean, what were you gonna say?
Well, I'll be frank here. For season one, I enjoyed more than season two. I'll be frank there. I did. I mean, and but at the same time, there's so many good moments in season two. So it's one of those things to where it's definitely difficult to say which season is better, because I saw people fighting on Twitter. Oh, season one's better, season two, and it's definitely one of those things to where all of it is so good to where it's so hard to be like, oh wait, I forgot that episode's on season two, so I can't say season one's better than season two, vice versa. So it's definitely it's definitely a tough question, right? That's why I would ask. That's why I'm asking you.
It is a tough question.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I predict that this will be the best season, because it'll be the season where we get a lot of these resolutions, where we get a lot of this growth. We've already discussed some of the growth that Tad is experiencing.
Yes.
He's still not perfect. He's still not out of the woods, as well as other people. But I think that the writers here are going to do a good job in wrapping up these stories and doing these characters justice. Whether they get what they're trying to get or not, I think they're going to explain how it's a part of life, wins and losses, right? Like it's what we have to deal with. I'll tell you this though, for people having a similar question, and maybe if someone has doubts or anything like that, look back at the list of episodes of season 1 and season 2, and try to remember how you felt on episode 6, which this is episode 6. Now, keep in mind, season 1 is only 10 episodes long, so episode 6 was more than halfway through. But look at the title of episode 6, try to remember what happens on that episode, and try to remember how you felt on those first 6 episodes. Same thing with season 2. And I promise you, you'll feel better and probably less worried, because even when you look at season 2, on episode 6, Jamie was still kind of like learning to be a part of the team. Nate had not shown his signs of turning to the dark side, right? So that
we saw little hints though.
We saw hints. Yeah, we saw hints there. But you still, midway through the season, you didn't know where stuff was going. Sam and Rebecca's relationship actually had no existence,
which I'm upset about. I mean, this is season 3, but this isn't this isn't. That's one of the things that I dislike, and that's not a spoiler, guys, because if you caught up with the episodes, it's not a spoiler. That's one of the things I dislike of this season, because the way they exceeded on Sam's story arc in season 2, it just got crushed in season 3, and it's just non-existent.
How did it get crushed though?
I mean,
he has a restaurant now.
I mean, yes,
he's
but
not
there's no
in the spotlight as much.
No, I know, which they're giving another player, which we saw the last episode, Colin, more I don't want to say more exposure, but more development.
And even then, I don't think Colin is an important part. His stuff has kind of like gone through a few episodes here and there, little by little. I think it's Jamie. Jamie's on the spotlight now. Like,
Jamie more so, definitely. But at the same time, because remember, Sam had a good stance last season. He had a really good development where I really enjoyed Sam's character. I'm not gonna lie, I really did. His character was really good. It just felt intuitive, felt very smooth and natural. Being with Becca, again, last spoiler, guys, last season. But with this one, it kind of felt like they just tossed him to the side. Not necessarily, but like
I can see.
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's. I don't know if everyone's having that a disagreement. It's the same. Put on the comments down below if you have that disagreement too. It's just me. Call me crazy, but that's just the way I feel.
But once again, this is what I'm saying. I also looked back at season 1. By episode 6, though it was hinted, Roy and Keeley were not in a relationship yet.
No,
So once again, a lot can still happen on this. Like
Yeah.
once again, Sam's relationship, Sam and Rebecca, didn't happen until the second half. So a
Yeah.
lot of our favorite things of Ted Lasso did not take place in the first 6 episodes. That was what I'm
No.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just really excited. But I think for the first half, they've accomplished a lot here. They've
Yeah.
given us insights. They've planted the seeds for Nate's
A lot of
possible like
yeah.
return, right? Or Nate's possible redemption,
I don't
things like
know.
that.
Return of the
I
Jedi.
know.
I'm just saying. Return.
I
Hey,
know.
they said it. What did they say? Season 1 was A New Hope. Empire Strikes Back was part 2, and then
Yeah.
and season 2, and then now Return of the Jedi, which come to find out is the 40th anniversary, guys. You should check it out in theaters because I know I am checking out theaters at the end of this month. But yeah, enough promoting Disney and Star Wars. But yeah, I'm just saying the Star Wars references are there. The little,
For
we talked
sure.
about this in the
The
last
inspiration's
episode.
there.
Yeah, but I again, we go call me crazy. It's just maybe we'll get Sam more so in the last few episodes. You never know. Maybe we'll get him in the
It
second
is
half.
possible.
That's what I'm
and,
saying.
and I want to
Anything.
see more, like, because I actually think he might have feelings for like his main cook. I think they had good
Yeah.
chemistry in some of the scenes that they had together. There was a room, like there was a hint in one of the earlier episodes that Sam is no longer on Banter, which is a dating app, right? So
Yeah, they
that
did
kind of
mention
like,
that. They did mention
maybe
that.
he's making
But
himself
they mentioned
available
that
to.
to Becca though. That's all remember that? They mentioned that to
Yeah, yeah,
Becca.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was true though. Like, but it was kind of like a side comment. I don't
I
think they're
kind of felt like
lying
it was
to Rebecca.
no, 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 no. But they were saying like implying like, hey, Becca, and Becca kind of gave a look at him and then was like, oh man, because that was that episode where like everyone was with somebody or they had
Yeah,
like their
yeah,
their itch because Sam wasn't with anybody, but she saw how they were intimate or they were looked like they were intimate and with through food, right? Through food or
yeah,
what
yeah.
and whatnot. So and then she saw her ex that she's married now, he's getting married. And so it definitely was a different definitely a different turn of events, which I liked a
Yeah.
lot. And yeah, but
And this
yeah,
episode, oh, sorry. And this
here,
episode
yeah.
also did a good job at still kind of giving us an insight of the battles that everyone's still going through, right?
Yes, yes. The mental
Everyone's carrying a lot of
awareness.
weight.
Yes, the mental awareness is huge. More so last season. It was huge last season. Don't get me wrong, but more of the character story where we got more of the insight into actually what is facing these struggles. We got more so in Cullen. I'm a
Yeah,
strong human being. We saw that. We saw a little bit of it in Nate, right? We saw that. We saw a majority
yeah,
of it in Nate, and of course Ted, of course. But this season, we were getting more and more of different characters, of different players in the game now that are struggling with the same issues. And I love that a lot. We got that more so in this insight in this episode here in Sunflowers, which was kind of like, wait, Sunflowers, why is it titled that? And we do get the question, why is it titled Sunflowers? We do get that. We're not going to spoil it right now, guys, but let's go to reviews real quick and then we'll start going to spoilers right now, guys. So
yeah.
overall, Lex, what is your official rating of this episode? Episode 6, Sunflowers, halfway through mid-season. Let's go. Rating. Shoo. Go.
I All right, guys. Y'all already know me.
You
I
always give
I,
high ratings.
I
You always
have to. I have to give this a 10 as well. So
what,
the last one I gave out a 10.
No, no,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Oh
Yes,
man.
I can.
I know. Yeah, you
I
can.
like this episode
I'll
more than
allow
the
it.
last one. I had said that the last one's my
Yeah.
favorite, but I
Damn.
yeah, like you said, there was some emotional moments here. Nothing
Yes.
like too overwhelming and things like that. Once again, I think we're still midway point.
Yeah.
And an episode doesn't have to be like full on gut wrenching and things like that
No. Yeah.
for it to be good. I smiled a lot through this episode, and I do that throughout the series. But I
Yeah.
just want you guys to see it, make your own assessment. A 10 for me is not a 10 for everyone. I understand that, but for me, I was just so happy to see once again a lot of these stories continuing. Um, it was a lot of laughs too. Like there were some really funny moments. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's mine. It's fine.
Wow.
You don't You don't have to.
Damn.
You can give it a 3 now. It's fine.
Oh damn, dude! You know what's funny? Because everyone always mentions that Ryan, you didn't like it. Everyone assumes I didn't like it. And when it comes to movies, not TV shows, but I love this episode. It's at first at the beginning I wasn't on board because it was kind of like where's it going and all that. But it surprised me, and I love it when TV shows / movies surprise the hell out of me. Where I cannot predict. This is probably the most unpredictable season that I've ever witnessed in Ted Lasso. Very unpredictable, and I effing love it. I love it so much. I'm going to give this a solid 8.9. Again, we go back to where this is. Oh, F it. I'll give it a 9. I'll give it a solid 9. No, I'll give it a 9. Now I think more about it. I'm all like, oh crap, I'm changing my rating. Watch next time it's gonna go higher. When I talk about spoilers, it's gonna go higher. 9.5. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it definitely is a solid 9, guys. This episode shows so much dynamic with different characters. You saw so much of development with each of them. Saw so much of just the struggles of being human beings and being where they're at in this world and really struggling to where just their past whether it be sacrifices or past struggles that they have to go through. And I love this episode so much because it really touches up on that. It touches up on more of the insights that we never thought of, even so of regular characters, which we won't mention yet, but yeah, even regular characters that we've seen in the past seasons where they get their character arcs. But yeah, it definitely is heartwarming. It's touching, and we see a big development on different people. But let's get right to it, Lex. Let's talk about spoilers because I know you guys are anticipating us. Where I can't anticipate it, so let's talk about it. This is huge, guys. Spoilers. We're going to talk about everything that happened this episode, dissect it as much as we can. Just the major stuff here.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about
not a play-by-play perhaps, but biggest moments and some of our favorite stuff.
The biggest moment here in this episode, which I thought was kind of lead towards the football era, right? I thought we're gonna get more football in this episode, leading off at the beginning. That's probably why I didn't like it, was because I thought you were gonna show us more football, more plays.
You haven't realized that this show's not about football?
Oh, here we go.
It's not, dude. I
understand that, but I'm waiting for the redemption story. I'm waiting for that. True. The championship. I'm waiting for it. It's coming. I feel like it's coming. But they've been on a losing streak, and they really have been struggling. No Zava. They have this whole banter of like no Zava. No, it's
like why bother?
The moral. The moral is not there. The moral is not there. The morality,
which sucks. I thought that last week's speech was gonna change things up.
It didn't do crap. In a way, I think not made it worse, but I felt like it just oh man, this sucks. I thought we're gonna get something different, and we didn't. We got so many different of just everyone's down. Everyone's not necessarily depressed, but they're just
full
in
a
dude. Yeah. Poop. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good. They're just so full of just doubting themselves. I'm not, and you kind of see that a lot in the locker room. You see that a lot. Even Roy Kent was like, "This is an exhibition." I think they said it right. This is an exhibition match.
Friendly.
Oh, friendly match. Yeah. Who cares? You're not even here. You don't even exist. Yeah. And he's like, you don't even exist. I don't even exist. It's just damn, Roy. All right. I like that a lot. And that was funny.
And you can see even Rebecca, right?
She's
just tired of seeing her team lose.
Not only that, but I think it's more the love life too, though. The love life, everything. She even says it. I hate this depressing song.
Oh yeah. Everyone's kind of at a down point, and I think that's why people are this season feels off, because people are all going through it, and most of them are going through it at the same time. Before in previous seasons, I think people took turns in going through it. But here we see just the entire team morale's down and people are struggling. One of the people that seem to be doing good right now is Keeley, and we didn't see her very much this episode, which was shocking to me because of the shock from the previous episode with her and Jack hooking up. But it does seem like it's actually a
relationship. Maybe
it wasn't a one night stand. They defined it as such, and and Rebecca's kind of teasing Keeley a little bit, like, oh, interesting. But
Did you
yeah,
hear the comment that she tells Roy? That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. Someone who I think she said someone again. Quote, my wife knows this, but she's mentioned it, and I'm probably gonna say this, butcher it.
I know.
But oh, go ahead and say it then, because I'm
Yeah.
gonna butcher it.
No, don't worry. So Roy notices that Keeley has to head out soon
Yeah.
in Amsterdam,
And she looks
um,
cheerful, by the way. She's very
yeah, she's
cheerful. She's like
happy.
excited. Obviously, it's
She's
something's
going to
going
watch
on.
the Aurora. I'm saying it wrong. She
See,
said it
you
wrong
but
too. Aurora Borealis.
there you go.
With Jack, and yeah, she goes off, and Roy comes up to Rebecca and asks like, where's she going? And Rebecca says, um, she's going somewhere where
Someone
they
deserves her. Or
someone that thinks they no, she's going somewhere that where someone knows they deserve her or
yeah,
thinks they deserve something like that. But basically, like
yeah.
alluding to how Roy just it was his issue. Like he just didn't think that
I
he deserved Keely, so he let her go.
at that point, at that very moment when I heard Becca say that, I was just like, Roy, why did you dump her? Like, why? It don't make sense to me. Why? I mean, that was a huge relationship that everyone was a part of, even the even the cast. I mean, even
Yeah,
as
everyone got
characters.
heartbroken.
Yeah, like everybody, it's just it's definitely it's just still a shock to me to where
It's
why did you
yeah.
do that? Like, Roy, why? Why? Give us a reason.
There's this
Why?
quote.
Why? Oh, sorry.
I think
Yeah.
this will still resolve in terms of like we'll see more of this. I think that has not resolved yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're getting back together. I'm throwing in a vote that I don't think it's gonna happen because I've since last season. Eileen hates it. Eileen doesn't want it to happen. But since last season, I picked up a little tiny bit of chemistry between Roy and Phoebe's teacher. Um,
Oh,
and
yeah, I
and
remember
she's
that.
and she's
Yeah.
a lot closer in personality to him. Like they both cuss a lot and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just something I spotted. But the quote I was gonna say, we accept the love that we think we deserve. And I think that's a very powerful quote because I won't break down perks of being a wallflower right now, but if you
Yeah.
apply that to Roy, he did not accept his love with Keely. Clearly he loves her, but he
Yeah.
just didn't think he deserved her. So he didn't accept that love. And
Yeah.
it's a shocking thing. It is something that's very hard. It's very real.
Mhm.
So I hope that once again, either where it comes to the realization or Roy ends up finding what it means to be deserving of a certain love, right?
Yeah.
I hope they get back to there. Everyone's rooting for them, but we'll
Yeah.
have to see. I now it becomes clear that Jack and Keely are
It's
a thing. It
yeah.
seems right.
I really don't think it's gonna happen more so. But again, a turn of events could happen. I don't know if it's a conflict of interest because that's technically her boss. If it might
Yeah,
find out,
yeah. I'm
they're gonna
still
try to. From my understanding, I again the professional understanding here is that I think Jack might want to keep it unofficial
for sure.
because it's comes to like the board. I mean, if she has to report to a board and all that, investors, it's definitely a conflict of interest for sure.
Yeah,
110% it is. And I kind of feel like it's not going to end well for Keely or Jack in that setting because they're
yeah, yeah.
professional. Again, that can if that's not her boss anymore, that's fine. I mean, that's when I could see them together. But as of right now, I don't think it's going to work out just because of that situation there, just because of
Yeah.
that professional situation. But I mean, yeah, and we get in the bus where everyone's trying, everyone's they're just gassed out. Everyone's just bummed out because of their loss. And Ted was like, you know what, I'm gonna do something unorthodox. I'm gonna do something that I'm never gonna repeat. I'm not gonna repeat again. Or he said something like that nature, and he pretty much says, no curfew tonight. Everyone gets to do whatever they want. Whatever, no curfew. Just be on the bus at 10 a.m. the next day. And we see Roy Kent get upset at Jamie because Roy is already upset because he already knows that she's going with someone else, Keely. And so then he just yells at Jamie Todd, and they're like, we're going to jog around. We're going to tourist, and we're going to jog
We're gonna
around.
train.
Yeah, we're going to train. And I thought that was really good. So we saw something. Let's stay on board with Roy Kent and Jamie here. We saw their dynamic very different. Holy crap. This episode, we got them getting along 110% here. We saw Roy open up his wall of a heart that's filled with walls and barriers. We saw him open up to Jamie in a way we've never seen before in the past seasons, in a way
Yeah.
to where it's so damn good. We saw even Jamie mentions a definitely a shocking history where he lost his virginity, a shocking history where his dad paid a prostitute to pretty much to lose his virginity
Yeah,
and all
he
that.
he he
That was
basically
yeah.
yeah, no, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Yeah,
you're
he basically told a story of the two, right? Like he's kind of talked about the contrast between his mom and his dad. His mom
yeah,
is someone that he's very close to. He wants to make her proud. His dad, he wants to piss him off because of the way that his dad treats him.
yeah. I
And
mean,
he talks
he's a dick. Let's just leave it like that.
he
He's a
is.
dick. Yeah,
And he talks about how he's gone to Amsterdam twice, and that's why he knows a lot of stuff.
yeah.
And the two experiences between going to Amsterdam with his mom and his dad are vastly different.
Very
With his
different.
mom, they
Yeah.
got to do touristy things, experience a true bond of mother and daughter,
Mother,
um,
mother and son.
mother, mother
Yeah,
and
you're good.
son.
You're
And
good.
then with his father, it was just
Yeah,
like a creepy, like stupid thing, right?
dude.
Like it's just
Yeah.
his
That should
dad's a
be there.
prick, and he,
Yeah, he should be
and,
arrested for that. Yeah,
they had the moment of both opening it up, dealing talking about the things that they're dealing with. But
yeah,
Jamie also kind of was light, he was training, but he was lighthearted, and
yeah,
he was excited to tell Roy about all these like landscapes and things like that, like, and it
yeah,
was awesome. And he like, I found it so warming. Like he never called him Roy, or he doesn't call him, I mean, we knew this, but he doesn't call him
yeah,
granddad anymore. Like he calls him
yeah.
coach, and that's a
Coach.
sign of
Yeah,
respect. He respects him and sees him as a coach. And even when Roy was being a little mean, he'd be like, "Oh, come on, coach!" Like blah blah blah.
yeah.
And then the student became the master when it came to teaching Roy how to ride a bike, which was like
Yeah,
awesome.
that was something very. Again, we go to where his barriers were open here. You know, the walls were broken down when it comes to Roy's heart and everything because he shared an experience. He shared something that not necessarily he's ashamed of, but just he's very embarrassed about, I guess, in a way, which is not even that bad because you'll be surprised how people can't ride a bike or swim or any of those things. And it's definitely a sense of like clarity to where they're both good to each other now. They both really find heartwarmingness into each other. They rely on each other more so now that they're getting closer when it comes down to where because they're training more, so therefore they're getting
Yeah.
closer. I love that. I love that dynamic here. And then even more so because of that, it was a really good story there. I enjoyed that character arc between both of them too. And then of course I'm sorry, not Jamie. Roy Kent does mention, I think Keeley seeing a girl, and then Jamie said a funny. It made me laugh,
But he said, "Let's go find us a windmill," and
dude.
that's like the next thing that
The
they
accent.
do.
Okay, so who else is noticing his accent? It's like really accent this season.
Caught a couple times where like it didn't seem like he made the accent as heavy, and then he went heavy like back and forth. But I don't
Yeah,
know. Um,
I don't know if that's
I
intentional in a
needed
way
subtitles for
or
sure, not just because of
yeah,
him. I like watching with subtitles, but
yeah,
with the preview that we get from Apple, the subtitles don't always populate. So
yeah,
um, but I'd like to also like, I think there's a lot of characters to cover on
yeah.
this, but I think one of the biggest things for sure was like Rebecca's journey here as well.
Yes, yes.
If you like me to set like the tone for that, let's
Mhm.
just, we find Rebecca without her best lady, right? Like Keeley,
Yeah,
because Keeley's with Jack, finding herself like, oh well, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but let me go walk around, right?
yeah,
um and not gonna break an entire play by play, but she finds herself in what I believe was another one of the predictions, maybe, but she finds herself drenched because she fell into canal, um, and meeting this man who kind of rescued her, nurses her back to like health per se, gives her food, and helps her get dry and all that stuff. And it's very interesting because we've looked at the psychic predictions, right, that have taken place, and uh,
yeah,
they talk of a shite in 90 armor, which is mixed up for knight in shiny armor. So we see this man rescue her from being drenched, like kind of like what um, the psychic predicted, but I think she said rain, so maybe there's still more to come.
Yeah.
Um, and I just found it endearing because Rebecca seems to have really gone through a journey here where she met someone wonderful, made her feel special, but at the same time, like I think it was maybe like a one-time thing, but yet they had a really good time and they opened up and um I don't know, like, I don't know what to make out of it, but they didn't even ever exchange their names, which I found interesting. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think that that kept the intimacy and that the preciousness
The
around that
mystery,
moment.
the
Yeah,
mystery. I thought that was kind of a good romantic touch to it as well too.
yeah,
It really brought romance into the equation here, and something very different because I actually, they got he made her some good tea and everything. We're not, I mean, it was just
yeah.
it was almost to where even the
He
guy
was a
was like,
sweet man.
yeah, yeah, exactly, and even the guy was like, oh my my wife that passed away, or girlfriend, I don't know,
No,
I
he
can't
didn't.
remember.
She didn't pass away.
Oh, oh no, no,
Yeah,
that's right.
he
He said
actually
he
made a
wished
joke
he
that.
made a
Yeah,
joke. He wishes so they
yeah,
divorced. I forgot about that. Yeah, they
yeah,
divorced, but he left. She has the leftover. He has the leftover clothes there, and he think yeah, that was funny. That's what it was. I was like, wait.
yeah,
I was like, I can remember. I could, but it's he's just like, yeah, my ex wife or my ex girlfriend, whatever, was very tall like you. So it's tall women. So he likes tall women. We got the little insight here, but more so we saw something very different between characters because we saw that not only did Becca lose her phone in the the water and everything, but also he threw his in the water to escape, to like boom, there's our distractions. Pretty much I loved it because it took a point to where you know we weren't living on this. We weren't
yeah,
living on this, and I love that a lot because it showed just really the realism of, or the real life, the real world without cell phones. And I like that. That's a really good insight there. I think that Jason really did a good job at that, and really showed us an insight when it comes down to like the writing and the plot for Becca.
yeah.
I think that was a good character to put in. uh but yeah, and then also with we're trying to skim through it, I guess the team could not figure out where to go this episode. They could
That's
not,
like
dude.
every group
Bro,
of
it's like,
guys trying to do some
yeah,
shit.
it's all day,
No
but
one can get.
this is a lot of guys though. That's what I'm saying. It was like, yeah, they were just
Yeah, yeah. Well,
confusing. Yeah,
Isaac had said that they wanted he
yeah,
wants the team to stick together because everyone kind of wanted to do their own thing. It's like, oh, well, let's
yeah,
split up, and no, and yeah, it was frustrating just to see like they couldn't decide. They did all this thing,
yeah.
but
It's real
um,
life. It
that
definitely
was
is.
one of the like the funniest
Yeah,
moments I think for this episode. Is just like them discussing, and Danny wanted to go to uh watch like a single tulip, and
yeah.
like
That
even the
was
bit where
funny.
like he wrote it, he's like, I don't know, well, someone voted for it, and he's like, you wrote it in Spanish,
You
and
wrote
then
it in
he's like,
Spanish.
someone did.
Someone that was
Yeah,
funny.
that
I
was
was
hilarious.
cracking up. Daddy was just like, someone, yeah, that was good. And then I think Van Dam wanted to go see like a
A
sex show
sex
or
show,
something.
yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, Van Dam, what is going on with
It
you,
was
man?
ridiculous, but they
Yeah.
settled for possibly one of the best things, which is an
I
adult
mean,
pillow
uh,
fight.
yeah, yeah, it was all right. I mean, it was definitely one of those things to where it just has to end somewhere for them. They had to figure out
Yeah.
something. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
I
It was
was
all
really
right.
hoping they'd get into some crazy stuff, but
I know, me too. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought we
I
were gonna
think
see him
all of
cry
them
on another movie or something.
I think the
Yeah,
point was still for them all to just kind of relax. And I think metaphorically speaking, and I just thought about this, it's a lot of times that indecisiveness that they have is what's being detrimental to their game in football. And so I think keeping it simple, keeping it laid back, and just doing something as a team is ultimately the mentality that perhaps they need to let go of a lot of the shit and
yeah,
undecisiveness and the indifferences and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it,
yeah,
but that's how I saw it in the moment, and then
yeah.
reflecting back on it. Um,
Good.
and I hope that the team is better because everyone kind of seemed in better spirits towards the end of the
Yeah.
episode. Even Rebecca seemed a lot more relaxed, and
Oh yeah.
Ted had a nice journey too. And but yeah, it's.
I had to mention it before we end this episode because this episode was really good on Collins and Trent. A, an unusual dynamic I did not expect. Again, unpredictable, right? We saw
that
something.
one I kind of predicted.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he's gay, right? I mean, yeah. And one of the things that I really enjoyed with Collins with Collins character arc here in this episode development. Oh my god, it was so good.
He had a great.
It was so damn good. I loved it when he said, of course, not to get into politics or anything like that, but he was just like, I don't have an agenda. I don't have I just want to pretty much, I just want to kiss my fella as like the guys kiss their girlfriends.
Yeah.
And
some sense of normalcy.
And I love that. I love that a lot. I guess he's more worried of how the guys would react if they do see. I don't know if that comes into play or anything, but we also see Trent kind of like let him know, hey, I know your secret, but I'm gay too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He didn't say it outright. He didn't
say it outright. Yeah.
Later on, he talks about when he came out too.
Because he was married. He was married.
He was married. He has a daughter.
Yeah.
And they talk about how he came out to his ex-spouse and his daughter. And I'm so happy for Trent too, because I remembered. I had this prediction that Trent probably would understand Collins pain and conflict because of Trent himself going through that. That was just a prediction I had.
Damn, you're calling it, dude.
Yeah. But I think it always I remember seeing in some forums and stuff like that people were like, oh, is Trent gonna leak the story of Colin and things like that?
That's what I thought.
And it's interesting. Yes, Trent has not always done what's best.
I mean, he did it last season,
But we can see now he's part of the team. He really cares for these players, and in seeing something that Colin is dealing with him himself has had to deal with, I think it was great for him to step in as a mentor and just hear him out. You didn't see Trent tell him what to do, right? It was just about hearing him out and letting him know that he's here for him, and I absolutely love that. And that speech. It
was funny how Colin was like, "Oh, I'm at the wrong bar," and that was great. What bar is this? What bar is
the bartender mentions, right? You'd be surprised how much that's
many people see
that. I think that's how it is out there. People are still living in fear or shame or whatever for different reasons, and Colin even said, I used to be okay with living these two lives, with my team and back home or with my partners. But he said, Dr. Sharon helped me realize it.
Yeah, and I to be honest I know he's struggling on that. He doesn't know how the team will react, but in a way I kind of felt like that the team wouldn't react any differently. That just might
and he said that. Yeah. He said that, right? He said honestly, I'd like to think that the team wouldn't care.
Yeah, because of their how much of a strong bond they all have with each other. I don't think that'll be the breaking point. As long as he doesn't pull a Nate, we're good. We are good.
I think it's more the scope of it. Because even Trent told him.
You talking about the tabloids and all that? You talking about all that?
Because he's a superstar. He's an athlete.
He doesn't want to be the story. I get you.
Yeah. He said, I don't necessarily need to be a sports person. I just want to be normal, right? Have the sense of normalcy, have the same right that my heterosexual counterparts have. Which is totally understandable. And even Trent told him, hey, I can share how I came out and how that affected my life. But he did tell him, I'm not a superstar, right? So more weight comes with that. And so I think part of it, once again, is how the team will feel. But I just think the scale and meaning behind it all. But I'm really hoping that Colin finds that comfort, because it seems like at least him getting someone that he can talk to in Trent, he did feel more relaxed. He did feel more uplifted, which is so nice to see.
Definitely. And then one more thing too, before we end this episode, because you have to mention, I know you mentioned it already, the Ted Lasso thing. We have to mention the huge obstacle he overcame this episode. He overcame an obstacle to where he mentioned in the last season, I believe, my dad was a quitter. He committed suicide. He's a quitter. He mentioned that, how angry he is at his father. But the obstacle of this episode really showed he always thought negative of his father in the past and all that stuff. He always thought negative of him. But knowing knowing the huge arc we got of not only was he able to think about his father, not have a panic attack and not have an anxiety attack of that nature, but he was able to ignite a fire that has been like low fumes, has really come out and be like, oh, a triangle. We got to see the sunflowers episode. Actually, spoiler alert: the sunflowers episode is a Kansas state flower, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
It was also the art piece that he saw from
dude,
Van Gogh.
that art piece was so beautiful. It was,
And
yeah.
I think, yeah, you bring an interesting point because I do think in the therapy session that he had with Dr. Sharon did a good job asking him, well, what do you love about your dad? You told me what you hate about him, which was that he quit on you and your mom. But what do you love about it? So I do think, like, I don't think he held it still then in a negative way. But you're right. Like, he was able to think back of a fond memory of his dad more frequently, and in
And
this
not
episode, he
have,
reflected. I think there was like a wave of a panic attack and then it went away.
it went
Thankfully,
away
he
like,
snapped out of it.
yeah,
His hand didn't
that's
twitch
beautiful.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you're right, like that moment, which honestly, I thought it was the tea because I'm making an assumption that it was ayahuasca. Eileen said it could be something else. I've never done ayahuasca, but like I just know it could be on
It
a
might
tea
be the tea
format.
though. It might be the tea. And I think about it.
They
Yeah.
talk about like the
Yeah.
taste, and once again, it sounded a lot to
So you're
ayahuasca.
saying it takes drugs? I'm just kidding.
Well, no. But
Yeah.
I thought about that, but then you remember what Beard said at the end, which was kind of like a little
Yes.
twist where he said, "Oh yeah, like it was a bad batch. Like I actually didn't feel anything or anything
Yeah.
like that." And then he said, "I called the bus driver who is the one that's provided with him, and he
Yeah.
also confirmed that it was a bad batch, meaning that there was no effect."
Yeah.
Part of me thinks like Beard has a higher tolerance than Ted, but also
I mean,
you know, well, you brought up a good point. It's like
Yeah.
that growth that Ted has been experiencing in relaxation perhaps led him to that moment of entering this trance, and he saw the
Yes.
patterns, and I was so happy for that because like
Yeah.
people have always said, and I see it in forums and things like, oh, Ted, I love Ted, but he just doesn't do any coach stuff, or I love
Yes.
Ted, but he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not a coach. I mean, he's not coaching.
yeah,
And yeah.
and he's coaching people.
Beard is more coaching than Aaron Roy, more
Yeah.
so the
And then the
players.
strategy and
Yeah.
yeah. But Ted came out with his play, and even Beard said, like, you know, I think it was funny how like Ted thought that he came up with something new, but it wasn't. It was created. It was like a technique that was previously established. But the fact that Ted, with no football knowledge, came up with this, and he talked about like the flow
Well, he played a
and
little
the
FIFA.
relaxation. You're right. He played FIFA. FIFA's helping me a lot too.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was just great.
Dude,
And that
I loved
whole
it.
sequence that we had, it's unlike anything we've seen in the show
Of
yet. I
Ted.
thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Well,
And
just the whole thing with like the graphics and stuff.
oh yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that was very peculiar. That was very different.
I liked it.
I was just like, what the hell is going on here? Again, you're probably right. You're right about that, and we're both right. I mean, I mentioned, you know, a different character arc, a different
It leaves it
obstacle
open
that he-
ended.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, was it
Yeah.
a T or was it just Ted kind of coming into this? Wow.
We'll find out, won't we? We'll find
Yeah.
out. Maybe he needs more of that tea in order to start coaching. That's all I'm saying. Give him some more of that tea, baby. Give him some more. But all right, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us this long. If you have already, and if you are listening to us on our podcast platform, be sure to like or subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and vice versa, YouTube on our podcast platform, guys. But yeah, any final thoughts, Lex?
No, I just can't wait. Every episode I
Yeah,
finish with like,
mid-season.
I want to wait. Yeah, halfway through, guys. I'm really excited for what's to come, and
We are too.
I continue to believe.
Yeah, you are too. I'm pretty sure our moviegoers and Ted Lasso fans are excited as much as we are. And this is really a really heartwarming mental awareness episode that I feel like that it really ignites something that I hope it's going to be a lot better. Hopefully we'll see more football. That's all I'm saying. I want the winning streak. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I can't wait to see it. Even though I'm predicting it, I'm still going to be it's going to come down to the championship. We mentioned this. It's going to come down to the championship match between Richmond. It's going to, West Ham. It's going to happen. We know it. Nate versus Ted Lasso, and Nate's going to freaking come back to the good side. You know, that's all I'm saying. He's gonna pull a Vader. He's Vader. But all right, guys, thank you so much again. Once again, guys, thank you so much for making this a part of your day. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
This was Lex. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one, guys. And what'd you say, Lex? Believe.
belief.
Thank you, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Check you later, San Antonio. Peace.